Hello, ISPA family, and welcome to another installment of our Pulse Partners interview series, where we catch up with representatives from the companies ISPA has partnered with in 2021 as we bring Pulse back to print and continue to provide that industry-leading publication to our members. I'm ISPA Board Chairman Patrick Huey, and I am thrilled to be joined today by Sorella Apothecary founders Danielle Munley and Emily Sindlinger. Now, many of us in the spa industry think of our colleagues as family, but in Danielle and Emily's case, they mean that literally. Not only have they known each other since kindergarten, but they're also sisters by marriage. That's awesome. That's awesome. So Danielle and Emily, we are so glad that you're joining us to share how Sorella has been working alongside their spa partners during the pandemic and what products and initiatives you're most excited about in the coming year. So welcome and thank you guys for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
We're so happy to have you. I have to say, I remember meeting you guys 3 years ago. I think we were in Las Vegas. I came to your booth. You may not remember this, but I came to your booth and I was drawn because the booth is beautiful. So if anyone wants a lesson on how to build a booth for conference, talk to Emily and Danielle. But I had the most amazing facial, I remember, and I think I had a cherry peel in that facial. Would that be accurate, Danielle?
Yes, that is accurate. I believe so. And I mean, we remember you. Come on. How could we forget? I remember talking to you at our booth for sure. So
It's such a beautiful line. And I think, one thing that I thought was really interesting about your line is how you have built your website. And on your website, you've really laid out some personal information about yourselves, which is brilliant because I think rarely do we as the consumer and the buyer get to really know the human beings behind the products in the way that you've laid out. So I know your skincare concerns that you each have. But Danielle, I was really interested in your story that you posted on the website. If you wanted to talk a little bit about that, it was quite moving actually when I read it.
yeah. So I think you're referring to when I was a little girl. So it's kind of like our fun fact about ourselves on our website. And yeah, when I was 22 months old, my mom had us kids at the pool, and it was a beautiful summer day and we're playing, and she turned around because there was a black widow in the drain, so she didn't want anybody to get hurt. So she was motioning for somebody to come over and take care of this situation. And I guess there was a little boy throwing my toys in the pool, and I was like, well, those are mine. So I toddled in after them and went right into the pool. Long story short, my mom dove in and picked me up, but by the time she got to me, I was blue, like completely blue. so she called for help, and the lifeguard on duty came, and he performed 7 attempts of CPR on me. And I believe, I'm blanking on his exact age, but I want to say he was as young as like 20 years old. So he obviously did end up saving me. But it's kind of cool because I mean, I have that experience, which I don't remember, just what I've been told from it. And then, but I still, like, I'm Facebook friends with Sam, the man who saved my life. And I think when I was 16, my mom and I went and met him, and, met him in person and had, dinner with him and his wife and stuff. And it's kind of a cool experience. So I still am, in contact with him. So he's kind of my real life hero, I guess.
And that is, and I'm trying not to cry as you tell the story. I can imagine what your poor mother must have been feeling at that moment. But it's a beautiful story, and that you still are connected to the person who did that. He's your family too, in a way,
Totally. Yes. My mom said I made promises to, whatever higher being who I don't even care. Like, I made promises that I better keep because, as any parent can imagine, I mean, that is every parent's nightmare. So, I mean, I kind of tell the story in a lighthearted manner, but I guess that's just because I know the outcome. So yeah.
We the outcome. Thank you for being willing to talk about that. And then Emily, on the website, I also saw that you have a little background with the PGA.
Yeah, so I grew up golfing and I thought I wanted to be on the PGA Tour. That route didn't work out. So I continued with the PGA program that they have, and you can go through and graduate and get a college degree. And when you graduate, you have your PGA card, which means you can teach lessons and run a golf course. So it was a really cool experience. I got to do some amazing internships at golf courses all over the country. But unfortunately, when I graduated, I just decided to shift gears. So I went to esthetician school, and it was really interesting how similar the industries are actually in that, it's running a business. I learned so much about running a business, and that carried over to eventually when I opened up my day spa. So I'm grateful for my college experience. And I still golf, not as much now that we have kiddos, but I still love to do it when we're on vacation.
I love that you say that, because I think many people come to the spa industry from industries that don't necessarily correlate to spa potentially, but the skill sets and the habits and the work ethics that you learn so apply to the spa industry, don't you think?
I'm so grateful for the hospitality and just everything that I learned customer service wise from the golf industry. I feel like that really set me apart when I did get my esthetician license and learn about, marketing and marketing yourself and what you're offering, and there's merchandising and retail. So there's so much that I'm grateful for, and how, and they relate a lot.
Because your esthetician business was quite successful when you were in the actual treatment room.
It was not when I started. I definitely had my failures and I almost quit many times because I had a hard time figuring out how to make money. But once I figured out some things and figured out retail and, really that I'm selling myself, it was great. It was successful. And that journey I'm grateful for as well, as it led me to where we're at today and led me to Sorella.
So let's talk about Sorella. Daniela, tell us, for anyone who may not be familiar with Sorella, can you give us an overview of Sorella Apothecary and the types of products and services that you all offer?
Absolutely. So we are a botanically based professional skincare line. My favorite parts are really going to be that Sorella really is the whole package. We have very results driven ingredients, but then we have beautiful packaging. So I think, when we started this line, it's just, we wanted to tell the spa and the spa director and the esthetician, like, you can have it all. You can have a product line that, flies off your shelves because people love the packaging, and then people keep coming back to it because they're actually seeing results in their skin. So, and then, there's always that aspect of our line that we have such a love for the esthetician. And that goes from the little guy who's a solo esthetician to, the big resort spas as well. Emily is an esthetician, and she poured so much love into this line. And so it really is for the esthetician by the esthetician. So yes, those are, and I mean, I love our story too. I think that, I don't know that we market our story as much as we even could, but it is kind of a romantic story that we truly, yes.
My next question is, how did you get started? I want to know how it all came together.
So it was a fun and exciting process. I have wonderful memories. Of course, there's some nitty gritty things in there too, but being an esthetician, I carried so many different lines, and it sounds cliche, but I really could never find exactly what I was looking for. And I would, go to the trade shows and really struggle with, well, this line says it does this line says it does this. And I mean, you've been, Patrick, it's almost overwhelming. And my husband actually was, tell me about this line. Why do you carry this line? And I at one time had 14 different skincare lines at my day spa, and not the whole line, but, my favorite parts. And, there's some amazing lines out there for sure, but I just couldn't find what I was looking for. And so I'll credit my husband, who is also Danielle's older brother. We're sisters, sister-in-laws by marriage. And but he actually was, thinking, well, maybe you should create your own line. And so that's kind of how it got started. And I love ingredients. I was pregnant at the time, very aware of what we were putting on our skin. And, Danielle was kind of my product junkie. We call her an esthetician by association. And so it just felt natural to do this with her and to do this together. She brings so much creativity and talent that it really was a perfect storm. And then our husband, I'm going to start some rumors. My husband is the CEO of the company, which a lot of people don't know. So it really is a family business. He comes into the office more than I even do, which is kind of funny. But so we had this idea and we started, of course, touring labs was the first step. There's some funny stories there as well. We, had some fun trips across the country together, and we found a lab that, of course, aligned with our values and what we wanted to create. It was really a learning experience once we dove into it. And we thought, well, we'll launch this next year. 4 years later, we finally, from the start, it was 5 years because we launched, and my daughter was 6. So, but we, mapped out our product line, what we wanted to create. Thankfully, being an esthetician, I had a really clear idea of kind of what we already wanted to create. And so we started with some formulas, and I was still in the treatment room. So I started using them on my clients, which I think was a really cool and, of course, stressful and crazy process. But we got amazing feedback because of that. So that was a fun experience. I've never used so many describing words in my life as far as, we want this product to look like this. We want it to smell like this. We want it to have this color. We want it to, have these ingredients. We want it to soak in 5 seconds. We want it to do this. So, we joke that we have 29 babies. We launched with 29 products, and each one of them, really has a very specific function. So that was kind of the process of starting. Then we signed up for some trade shows, and our first one was New York, which was, I probably wouldn't recommend to somebody that wants to start a skincare line to have their first one in New York. I mean, it was exciting and fun just because that city is so alive anyways, but just, the logistics of the Javits Center and just, overnighting our packaging, and it was crazy, but it was fun as well. But
not to mention that we've been stuck in New York, like every trade show, we got stuck there like 3 years in a row or something like that. So
I know, it's crazy. There are always a snowstorm, so we always are getting stuck there. I think it's just kind of, we should just plan for that.
plan for the snowstorm. So Emily, I'm going to come back to you because I think you talked about your process of creating the line, and you understand products because you are an esthetician. But in that ideation process, when you were with the labs that you were working with, what surprised you the most? What shocked you? You're like, oh, I didn't know it was going to be like that, or what was that moment for you? Or did you have that moment?
Oh my gosh, so many times. I learned so much through that process. And so there is, I guess my first shock, we went to a lab in Ohio. We didn't end up using this one, but they do probably the biggest body line there is in the country. And so I just was thinking, it's going to be an impressive lab. And it is this warehouse, on this quiet street, and you walk in and there's, a little coffee maker in the corner and like some old office furniture. And that was just mind blowing to me. You think it's like all glam, and then we went the other route and we visited a lab in LA, and they produce a lot of lines that you'll find at Sephora. And they have, 10 big glass wall, window conference rooms, and you're in conference room A from 9 to 10. They're serving you tea and coffee and all the things. We didn't go with that lab either, but it was just interesting. And different labs offer different things. So like certain labs don't do sunscreen, certain labs won't process powders, certain labs won't fill foil sachets. And so you're really trying to find, what works with the products that you're wanting to create. And we use multiple labs now. So we started with one, and now as we're launching more products, we're finding we need to branch out more. So, but that whole process was just so eye-opening.
Well, and I think for us too, a lot of the labs that we ran into would, tell us to create a marketing story, and then they wanted us to kind of like create our line around that marketing story, which that really wasn't what Emily and I wanted to do. It wasn't about marketing for us. It really was about creating something that worked and was beautiful, but like it was about the products and the ingredients, not just, you know, our whole line's going to be XYZ. So we were kind of surprised by that, in that, you know, we had to pivot because that's what many labs wanted, but that's not what we wanted to do. So
yeah, that's interesting. I think that's the key oftentimes to really good lines, and I would count Sorella Apothecary in a really, really good line. I think the products are great, but it's the integrity of the product, it's the integrity of the ingredients. It's not just a marketing story. And you know, we've all seen great marketing lines come through and they're gone in the flash because they don't have the sustenance, they don't have the gravitas to withstand being an operation with real operating spas, where you need more than a marketing story. You need the results. So, and you kind of, so, okay, so let's skip ahead. So now we're in 2020 and the world has imploded for us in terms of what we thought was going to happen in 2020. How did you guys support your spa partners during the pandemic of 2020?
yeah, I'll take this one. I mean, I think, you know, we really saw our spa partners hurting. And I mean, you know, we always are at the heart of our business, a small business, you know, like we have a ton of partners now, like things are going great, but you know, our heart is with our community. And you know, I mean, that's part of the reason why we love ISPA so much, because it is really all about that wellness community. So we really pushed like just connection. Rebecca Open, our lead trainer, she was amazing. I mean, you can just see that she radiates kindness. So she really stepped up and was doing a ton of webinars, Instagram lives, you name it. And so not only were we offering those to our spa partners, but we also opened up a lot of them to the community as a whole. Because what we saw is, I mean, if you think about it, you know, there's even like solo estheticians out there that maybe our lives were crazy because we have kids at home that couldn't go to school and we're trying to work. But there's also, you know, the people out there who don't have a family at home and maybe they can't see their family, and now their baby that is their business is not able to operate. And so, you know, we really wanted to push that connection first and foremost, in that we're still here for you. Like, we're going to get through this. So we did a ton of teaching. We did a lot of pushing for, you know, make sure that you're still retailing. You know, that's really important. People still need skincare and they still need to at least be able to do those facials. So do your at-home facial kits, do your virtual consultations. Even if you're, you know, giving those away, those virtual consultations away for free, like still push that connection with your clients. So, and we saw some of our webinars, you know, people had the time to attend. They had the time to, you know, take in that education. So some of our webinars went from like 150 attendees to like, you know, over 1,000. So we really saw that people were able to get that, put that back into their business in a time where they had to like step out of the treatment room and really take that time to like learn and immerse themselves in their line and their, you know, in their industry and see what else they can do. So, you know, there's always those blessings that come from crazy times. And I definitely think that that's one of them. And we're able to kind of continue this education. And, you know, it's not like, oh, things are starting to cool down and people are back at work, we're going to stop. We really, you know, learned a lot as a business in keeping that connection going and you know, keeping that education going even further than we were doing, because we already offered it, but now we just beefed it up way more. So
yeah, it's, you know, Danielle, it's so interesting that you said that, because I was going to ask you, are you going to keep those initiatives in place? And I think from a spa operator's point of view, having that content on demand, if we carry your product, so that I can go back and refer to that particular lesson that you did on the peel or on the history of the product line, because we're always hiring new people, we're always re-educating people, and it's not realistic to think that you're going to come in and do that every time. So to have that, to have those tools available makes it even better for us as a buyer, because then we're going to buy more products, because our estheticians and our receptionists really understand and know the line. I'm going to ask you a question. It's not on our list of questions here today, but you mentioned it. And either one of you can take it, either you, Emily, or Danielle. You mentioned your Instagram Live pieces. I think that's here to stay. I think that level of sort of connection with the public and with spa operators and professionals is here to stay. How did you find interacting with technology and social media on that platform, particularly Instagram, where you do have that component to go live at any moment?
Yeah, I mean, we really just started doing like weekly lives. And the cool thing I think about the lives is that people can watch those immediately, or they can live on your social media, and that way they can go back. And I mean, gosh, how amazing is it to even send your, client to Sorella's Instagram page to, remind them how to use one of our products, or maybe how to use our rose quartz stones at home to kind of take that facial experience home. So it's not just about the esthetician, but also like furthering to their clients as well, to keep that connection up and to keep that kind of like, keep your skincare in the forefront of your mind as well. So I think it helps on both levels to keep that connection going.
Have you gone to TikTok yet?
We just launched TikTok because we were joking before we started, because I'm like, I'm over 30, so I don't even get TikTok. So we have hired a nice young girl who knows how to do TikTok. And I'm like, get on that TikTok and those reels, because reels are actually amazing for social media engagement. They're super important, and a lot of people, can find your spa or your, product line or whatever it is through those reels. So yes, we're seeing that, I mean, Instagram and social media is a forever daily changing animal. It's like such a beast to keep up with, but it is possible and it is worth it. So
yeah, and I think we have to embrace it. We can't, I think one really interesting thing that's come out of this whole thing is that I think it's pushed our industry into the 21st century. It's like, no, you got to talk to people every day. You got to be visible. They want to know that you played for the PGA. They want to know that your skin is dry. They want to know, because it's all about the relationship and the connection, which you talked about so beautifully with your spas and and think about that poor single esthetician over the past year. I mean, you were a lifeline for her or for him, probably in many ways.
yeah, I mean, we hope so. I mean, that was our goal. It wasn't just about like sales or making the bottom line. I mean, it really was about like, let's keep people like even just mentally afloat. Like, you're going to make it through this and we're going to come out. Like, and most of our spa partners did. We had very few that actually, had to close their doors. So that is really, I mean, it's a good, I feel for the ones that did, obviously, but numbers wise, at least we made it some good.
And I think, similar to Sorella, we have the same conversations within ISPA. We took our content public because we just felt that it was so important to talk to people, that people needed to have a connection with something, while we all kind of sat at home and didn't know what to do the first few months. So I think we're onto something. I think how you approach social media in Sorella is really right. It's not, don't think of it as this albatross around your neck. Think about it as a way to talk and connect to people, right? So it's a really, I'm just glad you brought that up. I don't think you meant to bring it up, but you brought it up, so it was great. Emily, I want to come to you because I love always learning about what's new and what new products are coming out. So I know you maybe can't say everything that's coming out, but if you have any fun stuff that you could give us a window into, that would be very lovely.
Yes, we are coming into our biggest launch ever. We're launching 10 new products over the next few months. So we have just been so busy over here. It's been nuts. It feels like we're launching a new company sometimes. But we are really ramping up our professional products. So it's going to give estheticians so much more of a variety in the back bar, in your treatment offerings, in your protocols. And we're so excited for that. We have a few retail products as well, but the majority of them are, 8 of them are all professional only. And just more actives, more exfoliants, more, I would say more scientific ingredients. We're so excited. We have before and afters, and we just can't wait. And I think a lot of them, hopefully, well, we're launching one March 29th will be the first one. And then we're launching another one in April. And then the next big launch is at June 1st, which is right before, hopefully, if the Vegas or Dallas shows happen in June. And then we're launching the a big launch in August. So we're excited for all of, the estheticians have been asking for it for a while, and we listened, and we can't wait for you guys to get this in your hands. It's so good.
But seriously, like, don't hold us to dates.
Yeah.
We're working our butts off, but don't hold us to those.
In June, I'll be like, Emily, Danielle, where are the products? I'm ready. So funny. I have to say, when you guys, I think when I came back from ISPA with the products that you guys gave me, like literally they were in my office for like 5 minutes, and people came in and like, and they were gone. like the feedback on them was fantastic. So Emily, as you're learning, as you're rolling out all of these new products and these launches, and you're a very senior seasoned esthetician, what have you learned in the process as you're creating new products and these new launches? What have you learned as a human being, as a professional, moving through this process?
I've learned a lot. I think it's important. I always am going back to our original mission. And I remember carrying a few lines that were they had so many products. They had 4 moisturizers for the same skin type. And I'm really, I still am holding true to, if we're launching a product and it's similar to another one, we're discontinuing it, or we're revamping it, or we're making it better. We really want to have every product has such a specific function, and really going into every ingredient has such a specific function. We really are handpicking these ingredients. And I'm learning that, some of the products that aren't as successful maybe had a little bit of crossover, where you want that one that, it's very clear for the esthetician, because when the esthetician is confused, the end consumer is confused, and they're not going to purchase it. They don't get it. It gets lost in translation. It's like a game of telephone. So that's one thing that I've learned that we're really holding true with this next launch. But as far as product development, yeah, I think don't hold us to a deadline. I think everything costs more, takes longer. It's just, some of these products we were supposed to actually launch with, and that was what, 3 years ago. We still have, been working on them, perfecting them. And I think that just goes back to, it took Danielle weeks to pick the perfect Pantone of gold. And, it's been taking us a few years to pick the perfect sunscreen. So, I think that's just, I think we're holding true to our attention to detail.
Absolutely. So I can't believe it, but we're almost at time. Like this interview, this conversation, keep going. Like I want to go for cocktails and get all the juicy inside scoop on everything. But tell me, I'll go first to you, Danielle. Can you tell me in your mind what has been the silver lining of the past year?
Yeah, I kind of just going back to that connection. We had, one spa partner who said that she really never had time to go and truly learn her skincare line, like truly learn Sorella. And then once she had to step out of the treatment room, she had to force herself to like immerse herself back into her business. And, I think it's so easy in the spa world to get so into just like treatment after treatment after treatment, appointment, like keep booked up. But really you do have to give yourself that downtime to like invest back into your business. So once she was able to invest time back in her business, she really learned our line better and learned how to retail our line and learned how important it was to retail. We always go back to that analogy of like, facials and skincare is like, you can't go to the gym once a month and expect to see results. You have to like work the skincare at home. Yes. And so she really saw a boost in her business because she was able to take that time. So while it's been hard for everyone, I think, we can always look for those silver linings for sure.
Awesome. And what about you, Emily?
Definitely the connections, like Danielle said, it's been really cool just to, we did some webinars, and it was so touching to actually like get to know some of our partners. Of course, I miss seeing them in person. But also I think, you know, I think we did 11 plus trade shows last year. And I think some of the girls were like, okay, you know, I'm sick of traveling. And now it's so funny. Everybody here cannot wait. I'm looking because they're all sitting over there. They cannot wait to get on an airplane and go work a trade show. So, and then they're all excited that most of them are 2 days now, which I think is hilarious. So more comical silver linings, but the connections, of course, for sure.
Listen, we need some laughter and comedy right now. So we'll take the comic silver linings. I want to thank you both for joining us today and sharing all that's happening at Sorella and sharing a little bit of your personal stories, which I love to know who you are as people. I want to thank Sorella also for their continued support of Pulse, which did return to print in January and February. Yes, and it's also available through the Pulse app, which you can get on your iPhone and also on your Android. It's also on experienceispa.com, so you can find it everywhere. There's some great articles in there. So thank you, Sorella, for your support on that. To everyone watching, thank you for spending a little bit of your time with us. Stay well and have a wonderful day.